Now at 10, Joplin police investigate an assault connected to a counter-protest this weekend. Plus, why a local pharmacist says a Pfizer announcement concerning new vaccines shouldn't come as a surprise.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A rally for women's reproductive rights ended with one woman in the hospital and a man in jail. This is KOAM News at 10. KOAM's Bronte Soprowski gives us an updated report on events after a protest on Saturday.
It feels weird saying someone assaulted me still, because it feels surreal.
Unique Moore was a participant in the March for Reproductive Freedom on Saturday, a protest opposing a new Texas abortion law. During the rally, counter-protesters showed up to oppose the event. Some from the original event decided to go over, including Moore.
So a couple of the people decided that they wanted to take up space in kind of in the area that they were in. They were met with anger, vulgarity. They were met with shoves and getting up in our faces.
But when protesters from the women's rights rally clashed with counter-protesters, that's when Moore says things got ugly.
And that's when I noticed things were getting really heated, really badly.
Moore says she attempted to de-escalate a situation between protesters and those countering, and got caught up in a situation.
Because it felt like he lunged towards them. He wasn't even after me at first. And all I can remember is I grabbed his collar and he hit me.
He started just throwing hands and punching her right in the face very violently. And then ended up throwing her on the ground, hitting her again.
JPD says they responded to a disturbance call at 7th and Range Line, the location of the protest.
Officers responded to that disturbance and found there was a large gathering. During their investigation on scene, they determined an assault had taken place, which resulted in one arrest.
According to Joplin City arrest records, a Neosho man was arrested at 7th and Range Line for assault.
I know that an arrest was made for misdemeanor assault, and that individual was transported to the Joplin City Jail.
The police department is still investigating the incident, although Moore says she wasn't too fazed by it. In Joplin, Bronte Soprowski, KOAM News.
We reached out to the Joplin City prosecutor to find out if any charges have been filed against the man who was arrested, and were unable to get a response in time for tonight's newscast. Nick Kelly joining us now. First, the forecast. Really a calm, mild day today, Nick.
Yeah, not a bad way to kick off this new work week and school week for the kiddos, Jordan. We kept skies pretty quiet all day. Granted, some morning cloud cover passed through on the Kansas and Oklahoma side, but we spent the entire afternoon and evening underneath quiet and clear skies. 51 for a chilly start this morning. Topping out around 79 for another warm but comfy day because of all the dry air in place. I still don't have anything to show you right now on the Skywatch Storm Tracker. We're keeping things pretty quiet as we go into the night and into tomorrow morning. But I am focused on this upper level low because that's going to try and shake things up a bit for the next few days and certainly by the late afternoon tomorrow. In the meantime, though, mid to upper 50s becoming more prevalent on the Missouri side, but a few of us are trying to hold on to readings near 60. But kind of like this morning, we're headed for another chilly start with most of us dropping back to 53. We'll start with mostly sunny skies during the day, but as that upper low works in, Jordan, maybe a random shower late in the afternoon, but we'll still be on the warm side of things, just with highs around 75. We'll break down the rest of the forecast here in a bit.
Nick, thanks as always. Joplin City Council tonight approved an ordinance for architectural design services for a new fire station. That new station is going to be on a 2-acre piece of land in the approximate area of 30th Street and Jaguar Road. Paragon Architecture, LLC, out of Springfield, Missouri, is going to handle the services. It's going to cost more than $290,000. Now, Councilmember Phil Stennett voted against the ordinance. One reason why is that he believed a local company could have done it.
Provides a lot of flexibility and needed coverage in an area that's growing with a lot of valuable property, being near the industrial park. It's positioned well for future growth and expansion, and so it'll be a great addition and really improve the safety services for our community.
Council also approved a $2 million ordinance for the Joplin Creek Interceptor project. Pfizer announces a new COVID-19 vaccine will be needed by mid-2022. Despite that announcement, one local pharmacist we spoke with says new vaccines really aren't something new. The flu vaccine is new every year. It's offered because it's changed to combat the expected flu strains for the upcoming season, of course. Chad Isaacs with Stone's Corner Pharmacy says we should expect the same with COVID-19 vaccines as time goes on.
So that's a natural process. That's not unexpected. And it's important to take advantage of the COVID vaccine we have now, but also realize that there will be new formulas in the future, and those will be a good thing to supplement what has already been started this year.
Isaac says even with the COVID-19 vaccine, it's still a good idea to get that flu shot to ensure you're protected. 4 staters who asked for an extension on their tax returns are running out of time on that extension. The deadline is in just a couple of weeks, October 15th. Around 131,000 Kansans asked for an extension. Now, to avoid delays, the IRS urges everyone to file electronically. There are some taxpayers who might have more time. An IRS spokesperson says military members and others serving in a combat zone normally have 180 days after they leave that zone to file and pay any due taxes. The spokesperson also said that taxpayers in federally declared disaster areas who already had valid extensions may have their deadline extended. A Missouri lawmaker is demanding that Springfield Public Schools turn over 3 years worth of staff emails and other documents with references to critical race theory and more than 24 other words or phrases. The school district says they need at least $170,000 though to get it all started. Republican State Representative Craig Feischl filed his Sunshine Law request in early September. Feischl is accusing the district of inflating the potential cost and said he may ask the House to subpoena those records. District spokesperson Stephen Holt said Feischl's request is, quote, extraordinarily broad and could require thousands of hours of staff time. Missouri Governor Mike Parson denies clemency to a death row inmate despite calls from across the world. Pope Francis joined the chorus of people calling on Governor Parson to grant clemency to Ernest Johnson for killing 3 people during a 1994 convenience store robbery. Johnson is scheduled to die by injection at 6 p.m. tomorrow at the state prison in Bonne Terre. 61-year-old's attorney Jeremy Weiss has said executing Johnson would violate the U.S. Constitution. It prohibits executing intellectually disabled people. If Johnson is put to death tomorrow, it would be the 7th execution in the U.S. this year, but the first not involving either a federal inmate or an inmate in Texas. Still ahead, Facebook is back up after an outage that lasted an entire workday. Seemed like life, didn't it? Going to have the latest and what the Supreme Court will be facing as it begins its new term.
Area hearing has been serving of health and environment.
Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp are back up and running again after going dark for several hours today. The mysterious worldwide outage came amid harsh new scrutiny for Facebook over both its business practices and its ethics. Bradley Blackburn reports.
Facebook and its associated apps like Instagram are back online after an unprecedented outage on Monday.
This is a global outage. This is across the earth.
The social media giant's services were down for about 6 hours, locking out its billions of users and reportedly even some of its own employees.
Could be a hacktivist that is trying to make a statement. I find it very hard to believe that this is just a typical outage, especially when it's taken down in such a large scale.
Facebook's chief technology officer apologized for the disruption, which he attributed to networking issues.
I am cautious to assign any kind of malicious activity to these things because a lot of times, more often than not, it turns out that there was an internal slip up.
The outage came at a crucial time for Facebook. On Tuesday, a Senate subcommittee will hear from product manager turned whistleblower Frances Haugen.
Facebook over and over again chose to optimize for its own interests, like making more money.
She says Facebook knew its platforms were being used to spread misinformation, but did little to stop it because controversial content drove user engagement. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
Separately, Facebook asked a judge to dismiss an antitrust complaint filed by the Federal Trade Commission. The company argued it isn't a monopoly because it faces strong competition on many fronts. The Supreme Court began its first in-person term since March 2020 with plans to hear arguments on some of the most divisive issues of our time. Justice Brett Kavanaugh joined in remotely after previously testing positive for COVID-19. In December, justices will hear arguments on a Mississippi law that bans abortion after 15 weeks of pregnancy. SCOTUS is also set to take on a major gun rights case over New York's concealed carry laws. Crews were on the beaches and out on the water today trying to clean up and contain a massive oil spill that stretches For about 13 square miles in Southern California, at least 126,000 gallons of oil began pouring into the Pacific Ocean over the weekend from an underwater pipeline about 4.5 miles offshore. The oil is washing up on popular beaches and threatening wildlife, especially those birds. Officials with Amplify Energy, which owns the pipeline, say a ship's anchor may have struck the pipeline, causing this spill. A landmark drug trial started today in a federal courtroom in Cleveland. It pits 2 Ohio counties against 4 national pharmacy chains, CVS, Walgreens, Giant Eagle, and Walmart, in a legal reckoning of sorts over the opioid crisis. Attorneys for the counties say the national pharmacy chains that dispensed hundreds of prescriptions should be held responsible for the costs of opioid addictions. Pharmacies have denied wrongdoing. The trial is expected to last 6 or 7 weeks. Later, the Frontenac Raiders reaching a big milestone with their latest win under those Friday night lights.
But first, while we kept quiet for this evening, a couple rain chances might try to sneak back in over the next few days. We'll touch base on that next.
Come to Frontenac's Taste.org.
Today didn't turn out to be a bad way to start the new work week and school week out. Granted, some of you on the Kansas and Oklahoma side saw a little morning cloud cover pass on by, but the afternoon was pretty good to everybody with mostly sunny skies up top. We're still looking dry, even at this point in the night, late Monday night that is. Most of us looking like Indigo Sky Casino Resort outside of Seneca, Missouri. Clear skies up top, but some changes are on the way as early as tomorrow. Before we get to where we're going, though, let's look back on where we've been. Upper 70s for kind of a warm end of the weekend yesterday, but we tanked into the lower to middle 50s this morning. That, with dew points matching those numbers, allowed for some patchy areas of mist and fog to get your morning started, but those quickly burned away once we got past sunrise. And we bounced back close to 80 in many spots for this afternoon. Temperatures have been on the downswing quite a bit ever since we got past sunset. It certainly helps with clear skies up top and a calm breeze outside. 58 in Joplin, the dew point at 54. These two are trying to come closer together, but the humidity is still at 87%. I'm still not too concerned about any areas of mist or fog developing overnight, since I think those numbers will stay pretty far apart, just enough though to keep any of those chances at bay. Most of us are in the mid to upper 50s right now. A couple of spots like Chanute, Independence, Fredonia, Yates Center, Iola, trying to hold on to readings near 60, but we're all going to drop back into the lower to middle 50s again. I don't think quite as chilly as this morning though, but we'll have another chilly start for our Tuesday morning as we continue with mostly clear skies here. Not much to show you at the surface setup though. There is still just the leftovers of a weak area high pressure over the Colorado, make that Kansas, Oklahoma, there we go, border. That is what's going to keep us quiet still as we go through the course of the night. Upstairs though, this upper low, not the old one over Ohio, that's the one that gave us rain over the weekend. This is a new low that developed close to Memphis, Tennessee. That's the one that's going to try and bring some rain chances our way as we go through the next few days. In the short term though, it might try to bring a couple clouds around Stockton Lake and the Harry Truman Reservoir by sunrise, but you can see how everyone stays quiet to start the morning up, but chilly again as overnight lows drop back near 53. Heading into the afternoon, that's when the upper low really starts to kick in the gear here. We'll have partly sunny skies working in to start the afternoon, holdings firm for the afternoon, and potentially a couple of showers trying to work in as well, maybe a random rumble of thunder. But overall, though, I think the majority of us will be dry for tomorrow. Wouldn't hurt to have the rain gear handy, though, considering the slight rain chances that we'll have in place. 53 in the morning, 72 by noon. Highs around 75. I think we're dry for Tuesday evening, certainly to get Wednesday morning started. Then as that low drifts closer, we'll have scattered thunderstorm chances with highs again in the mid-70s for our Wednesday. So the next 2 days alone, the rain chances shouldn't amount to too much though. Maybe 1/10 of an inch on the low end and maybe close to 1/2 an inch in the extreme cases, but not a big washout with this upper low passing nearby. It'll move on though as we go into Thursday, but look at the upper ridge building in for Friday and Saturday. That's going to really heat us up before we see another good system come at us by Sunday and Monday. That's going to be our next best shot for widespread rain and storms come Sunday and Monday. In the short term though, we'll go 75 tomorrow, 74 Wednesday, 78 for your Thursday. You have to sneak back near 90 for Friday and Saturday, Jordan, before hopefully we're back in the upper 70s on Monday.
One lone 90-day, isn't that something?
Hey, I'll take it, even though I don't want any 90-degree days. This is still not bad.
Yeah, I agree. Nick Kelly, thank you. KOM General Manager Danny Thomas is a Hall of Famer. Kansas Association of Broadcasters inducted Danny into its Hall of Fame during a ceremony yesterday. Danny has served KOAM 34 years. During that time, he oversaw the launch of our sister station, Fox 14, spearheaded numerous telethons, including one that helped launch construction of the Ronald McDonald House. The KAB Hall of Fame Award is the highest honor bestowed upon an individual by the Kansas Association of Broadcasters, and a big congratulations to Mr. Thomas. 1,000 trees are finding new homes in Joplin, also Kansas City. Spire Natural Gas partnered with Forest Relief of Missouri to distribute the trees as part of what Spire calls its commitment to communities and the environment. Today, Spire volunteers loaded and transported the trees to sites where 25 organizations, including churches, neighborhood associations, and city parks, picked them up at no cost. The volunteer effort is part of Spire's Day for Good initiative, which gives employees 8 hours of paid leave each year to support an organization or cause of their choice. All right, coming up in sports, we've got the highlights from a non-conference battle between Webb City and Mcdonald County. Also, Frontenac reflecting on their 700th win in program history.
Colon cancer. To learn more.
Webb City Cardinals traveled to Mcdonald County today for a non-conference matchup. Mcdonald County is 16-5 on the year. The Mustangs jump out to an early lead. J.C. Franken almost gets it out, but it's a double off the back wall. That drives in Carly Cooper. Then in the third, Madeline McCall doubles up the third baseline. 2-run score. McDonald County takes a 3-0 lead. Mustangs keep their foot on the gas with runners on. Mariana Salas crushes this one to center, extending the lead to 7. What a day for Mcdonald County, ending this game after just 4 innings, a dominant 15-0 win over Webb City. The Frontenac Raiders improved to a 4-1 record after topping Burlington 42-6 on Friday. It was a night of celebration for the program. The Frontenac Raiders reached a special milestone in last week's win over Burlington.
I thought the crowd was great. The energy from the kids they were excited. The kids handled it well. They focused on the game plan and they executed it pretty well.
In their 100th season, the Raiders record their 700th win.
After the game, we got this banner that says 700th win, and it's going to be on our stadium now every time that we play, and it's just going to be cool to look back and see that and remember what we did.
To be able to do it at home is a cool thing. To be able to do it this same night, we honored the 100-year reunion, had all the alumni come back. It almost worked out perfect.
I was very thankful and honored to be a part of that, and all the old football players coming out and watching us. It was really cool feeling.
The Frontenac football program now has the second most wins all time in the state of Kansas.
It shows the school's had tremendous coaches, tremendous players for decades on decades, and when everybody comes out on a Friday night, it's a special night.
There's a lot of pride that comes with wearing a Frontenac jersey.
This school has done great things in the past, some Olympic runners and some really great state championship titles. And every time I put it on, I just feel honored to be able to be a part of that, something bigger than myself.
This accomplishment is a step in the right direction towards the Raiders' larger goal.
The goal is to get the ring, but along the way, getting a 700th win it's really cool for our program.
Hopefully the kids saw how important it is, and they can kind of lead us into the next 100 wins and get to 800 here soon.
Frontenac's next assignment takes them on the road against Anderson County on Friday. The Kansas City Chiefs picked up a much-needed win on the road against the Eagles on Sunday. Andy Reid made NFL history, recording his 100th win with multiple franchises. The game was an offensive shootout, with the Chiefs coming out on top 42-30. Patrick Mahomes threw for 278 yards and 5 touchdowns. Mahomes connected with Tyreek Hill on 3 of those, tying Hill for 4th place in total receiving touchdowns in Chiefs history. Coming home with a win in whatever fashion was the most important task, and the Chiefs got that done.
We want to win football games. Tyreek, obviously, we want to get him involved as much as possible. But if we need to use him to get someone else open, he's willing to do that. Today, Travis didn't have this big game that he always has. But you could, if you would have saw him on the sideline, you just saw the leader that he was. He's getting everybody going every single time, not letting the energy go down. And I think that shows the type of guys that we have on this team. Is obviously everybody wants to have big games every single game, but at the end of the day, it's about winning. Winning, and I think we have guys that understand that.
That's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.